Welcome to Spooky Bear, where darkness whispers your name. And today, please enjoy.
Other sky. I woke to blackness. The first thing I noticed was the absence of light, not darkness like midnight, but an oily void that sucked every color into its yawning gulf. I sat up in bed, disoriented, heart hammering. Through my window, instead of the usual pale grey dawn, I saw a sky like spilled ink, swirling with iridescent ribbons of color, greens curling into purples, streaks of something like blood-red oil drifting across the emptiness. For a moment, I thought I was dreaming. Then I heard the coffee maker sputter in the kitchen. My apartment was unchanged, my beige walls, my cluttered desk, the day's first glare of news on the TV screen. I stumbled to the window, pressed my forehead against the cold glass. The void in the sky writhed as though alive, edges dissolving into one another in a slow, hypnotic dance. I blinked. Blinking did nothing. I ran through the apartment, pants, shoes, phone in hand, and rushed outside. The street was quiet, except for the hum of a passing bus. Across the avenue, my neighbor Mrs. Allen leaned from her window, knitting needles clicking. I waved, shouting, "Look up!" She glanced skyward only briefly. "Beautiful morning," she said, then turned back to her yarn. I frowned, heart sinking. The void remained, shimmering above, but she never saw. No one on the corner stopped. The postman whistled as he wheeled his cart past. Cars rolled by, lights bright against the ink above, oblivious. I pressed my phone's record button and held it to the sky. The screen showed the familiar, pale blue morning, scattered clouds drifting by. The void was gone, masked by my phone's lens or by something deeper. I dropped my arm, staring at the recording. It was perfect, brutally normal. I swiped through playback again. No trace of what I'd seen, only the reflection of my own horrified face, eyes hollow. At home, I replayed the video. My reflection filled the frame as I watched, the city skies beautifully mundane behind me. Then, and this almost broke me, a face staring back from inside the screen, behind my reflection's eyes. It was mine, but wrong. Cheeks sunken, eyes darker, as though I'd sucked out my own life. And it whispered, voice layered over mine, "You weren't supposed to see." My blood ran cold. I ripped the phone free and flung it onto the sofa. Its screen shattered one flickering image, my reflection, mouth open in silent warning. I needed proof. I grabbed my DSLR and tripod and returned to the street. I set up beneath the void sky, forcing myself to look upward, finger hovering over the shutter. The void pulsed, like a heartbeat beaten slow by unimaginable drums. I snapped several images, then dozens. Back at home, I opened them on the monitor. Each showed the normal sky, little white clouds, sunlight filtered through exhaust plumes. But in every single frame, a shape lurked behind me, my own shadowed silhouette in the void's form. It moved, leaning forward, as if peering at the hidden sky. I sent the high-res files to my friend Emma, a science writer. Her reply came late that night. "All I see is your silhouette on a blue sky. Are you okay?" I called. She answered on the first ring, calm. "Everything fine, Mark." She didn't ask what I'd seen. No one did. Sleep abandoned me. Each night, the void grew bolder, violent coils of oil-slick darkness. Once, its ribbons condensed, reaching down like fingers toward rooftops. I fled into my dreams, only to awaken with the void's whisper in my ear. On the fifth night, I crept from the apartment with my DSLR and a flashlight. I followed the longest shadows on the sidewalk, my only guide to the void's presence. They led me away from the city lights, down empty alleys, to an abandoned park. Here, the world stood hushed beneath the void's oppressive gaze. I trained my camera upward. The void glared down in phosphorescent rings. In the flashlight's beam, I caught a glimpse of movement, a dark form gliding above the fountain, defying gravity. I snapped the shutter. The form vanished. The void pulsed again. I raced home, developed the shots on my computer, praying for clarity. Each image showed the void, black spirals and oily ribbons. But when I switched to my backup footage captured by the street camera's public web feeds, the sky was black. Not pale blue, but nothingness. Every camera feed overnight had captured pitch darkness overhead, unbroken by stars or clouds. I dug deeper: Twitter, Instagram posts, tweets of sunrise photos from across the globe. All black. No sky at all. Just a blank abyss. I stared, throat dry, trying to reconcile what my eyes had told me. A swirl of color, shifting alive. The world had lost its sky entirely. The void was replaced by normal only to me in my recordings. Everyone else perceived nothing. I realized the first truth: the earth no longer had a sky. The sky had collapsed. The void I saw was reality, a necrotic wound in the firmament. The images of blue were comforting lies woven by cameras, screens, my own mind. I confronted my reflection in the bathroom mirror. I raised a hand. It mimicked flawlessly. "What are you?" I demanded, the mirror crackling in the hush of my apartment. My reflection's lips curled into a grin, lips I knew were mine but foreign. It spoke without moving its own lips. "The sky is gone." My heartbeat hammered. Who was speaking, if not me? I recoiled, but the reflection leaned forward, eyes chillingly empty. "And you weren't meant to notice. Now we replace you." The lights flickered. My reflection's hand reached through the glass and touched my palm. Cold shock traveled up my arm. I grabbed my phone. The camera app opened to show the void outside, streaming live. Behind me on the screen, my reflection stood in the room behind me, smiling. I spun around. No one stood there. I faced the mirror again. My reflection was gone. I bolted from the bathroom, heart in my throat. The world outside awaited, no sky, only the void pressing down. My phone clattered in my hand. The screen displayed the normal sky again. Then the image shredded into static. The void returned. I stumbled back against the wall. The whisper followed me. "We replace you." I fled to my study, barricaded the door. I watched the void swirl through my window. Its patterns became sigils, runes of decay that pressed against the glass, demanding entry. I realized the ultimate horror. Not only had the sky died, but the void sought to claim consciousness. My reflection had been the first to slip free from my body, an echo of me to linger behind the lens. Now it wanted the rest. With trembling fingers, I taped a Polaroid of my own face, eyes wide in terror on the lens. Maybe presence would anchor me. I shivered as the void's pulse grew louder. Dawn never came. Hours passed as minutes, minutes as seconds. The sunset light in the hallway bulb faded, leaving only the void's reflection in every surface. Windows, polished floors, stainless steel appliances, mirrors all. I whispered a final prayer to the blue sky that no longer existed. My voice echoed back, "We replace you." The sigils glowed on the glass. The void seeped through the Polaroid, burning it to ash. My reflection stepped out, no longer trapped, its hollow eyes boring into mine. I closed my eyes. When I opened them, I stood outside, bathed in pale light. The sky reappeared, blue, cloud-dusted, endless. Birds sang. Children laughed. I walked forward, but my feet hovered. In the water's reflection of a parked car, a hand held a cracked phone screen. The void still swirled within. My own face, the original, stared back with hollow eyes, whispering, "Now you." I looked up at the perfect sky and smiled.
Sleep is a luxury, and you've just run out. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll be waiting for you if you dare.